For years, the same fear has followed eggs. They contain cholesterol, so you shouldn't eat them. And people live with this belief for decades without even asking a simple question. Is this idea still relevant today? Today, we're going to look at what actually changes in your body if you eat eggs every day. Your energy, your focus, your blood, your skin. And separately, we'll talk about the brain, and also about one organ that is often left out of the conversation, even though it plays a very important role here. Hello everyone, I'm Ria Novak. There will be no scare tactics and no moralizing, just facts and logic. Let's begin. Let's start with what's actually inside a regular chicken egg, because once you understand the composition, it becomes clear why this product is so unique. One medium egg contains about 6 to 7 grams of protein, and this is not just any protein. It's complete protein with an ideal amino acid profile. What does that mean? It means it contains all 9 essential amino acids that your body cannot produce on its own. You can only get them from food, and the egg provides them in exactly the proportions needed to build muscles, hormones, enzymes, and immune cells. I often hear people say, "Well, I eat cottage cheese. It has protein too." Yes, cottage cheese is good, but protein from eggs has a 98% absorption rate. It's the gold standard. The World Health Organization uses egg protein as the reference standard for comparing all other protein sources. Now let's talk about the yolk. This is where things get really interesting. Many people still throw away the yolks and eat only the whites. This is a big mistake, because the yolk contains the majority of the egg's nutrients. The yolk contains choline, a vitamin-like nutrient that is critically important for the brain. One egg provides about 147 milliliters of choline. The daily recommended intake is about 425 milliliters for women and 550 milliliters for men. So 2 to 3 eggs a day can cover a significant part of your needs. And what does choline do? It is involved in the production of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter responsible for memory, learning, and concentration. Choline deficiency is one of the reasons for age-related cognitive decline, that very forgetfulness and mental fog that many people simply blame on aging. There were studies from Boston University that followed 2,700 people over 10 years. Those who had adequate choline intake performed significantly better on memory tests and had a lower risk of developing dementia. Next, the yolk contains lutein and zeaxanthin. These are carotenoids that accumulate in the retina and protect it from damage. Age-related macular degeneration is one of the leading causes of blindness after age 60, and these 2 compounds from eggs genuinely reduce the risk of this condition. What's more, lutein from eggs is absorbed better than from vegetables because it's in a fat-based environment. Lutein is fat-soluble. From spinach, for example, you might absorb around 10%. From eggs, absorption can be 3 to 4 times higher. The yolk also contains vitamin D. In our latitudes, up to 80% of people are deficient in this vitamin, especially in winter. Vitamin D is not just about bones. It affects immunity, mood, prevention of autoimmune diseases, and even plays a role in cancer prevention. One egg provides about 41 IU of vitamin D. That's not a huge amount compared to daily needs, but every bit matters. There is also vitamin A for skin, vision, and immune function. Vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant. B vitamins, for the nervous system and energy metabolism. Selenium, for the thyroid. Iron, phosphorus, zinc. One egg is like a small biochemical laboratory, and when you eat it every day, your body receives regular support on multiple levels. Now let's talk about what specifically starts happening in your body when eggs become part of your daily diet. I'll go through this by system so it's clear and practical. Let's start with muscles. After age 40, natural muscle loss begins. This is called sarcopenia. Each year, you lose about 1% of muscle mass if you do nothing. By age 70, this can reach up to 30%. And muscles are not just about strength. They affect metabolism, joint protection, and prevention of falls and fractures. Daily intake of high-quality protein is one of the main ways to slow this process. Eggs are ideal here because their protein is absorbed quickly and completely. Studies show that older adults who consume enough protein maintain muscle mass and physical function for much longer. Next, the brain. Remember choline? That's just the tip of the iceberg. Eggs also contain omega-3 fatty acids. In small amounts, but they are present, especially if the hens were properly fed. Omega-3s are needed for the fluidity of neuron cell membranes. This affects signal transmission speed, mood, and protection against inflammation. There is evidence that people who regularly eat eggs are less likely to suffer from depression, because eggs contain all the precursors needed to synthesize serotonin and dopamine, the neurotransmitters of good mood. Now let's talk about the heart and blood vessels. This is where things get especially interesting and controversial, because for many years we were told, eggs raise cholesterol, and cholesterol leads to atherosclerosis, heart attacks, and strokes. Because of this, an entire generation was afraid of eggs. So let's be clear. This is a myth, an outdated, disproven myth, but still a very persistent one. Yes, one egg contains about 186 milliliters of cholesterol. But here's the key point. Dietary cholesterol has a very weak effect on blood cholesterol for most people. Your liver produces about 80% of the cholesterol in your body on its own. That's normal. Cholesterol is needed to synthesize hormones, vitamin D, and to build cell membranes. When you eat cholesterol from food, your liver simply reduces its own production. This is a natural self-regulation process. What's more, large studies have shown that in most people, daily egg consumption does not increase bad cholesterol, LDL. In some people, it even increases good cholesterol, HDL, which protects your blood vessels. The Harvard School of Public Health conducted a meta-analysis of 17 studies with more than 260,000 participants. The conclusion: eating one egg per day is not associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease in healthy people. Of course, there are nuances. If you already have type 2 diabetes or severe hypercholesterolemia, you need an individualized approach and medical guidance. But for most people, eggs are safe and even beneficial, because eggs also contain compounds that protect blood vessels, carotenoids, vitamin E, and phospholipids. They reduce oxidation of lipoproteins, and it's oxidized cholesterol that is truly dangerous for arteries. You know what else impresses me? How eggs affect body weight. Many people think that if you eat eggs every day, especially with the yolk, you'll definitely gain weight because of fat and calories. In reality, it's often the opposite. Eggs are one of the best foods for weight control. First, they are very filling. Protein provides long-lasting satiety, much longer than carbohydrates. There are studies where one group ate eggs for breakfast, and another group ate bagels with the same number of calories. The people who ate eggs consumed about 330 fewer calories throughout the day, simply because they weren't as hungry and didn't snack as much. Second, eggs boost metabolism. Digesting protein requires more energy than digesting fats or carbohydrates. This is called the thermic effect of food. Third, eggs help preserve muscle during weight loss. And muscle is your metabolic engine. It burns calories even at rest. I often recommend eggs for breakfast to patients who are overweight. The results are consistently good. People lose weight more easily, have fewer relapses, and feel more energetic. By the way, here's an important moment. Write in the comments. Do you eat breakfast every day? And if yes, what do you usually eat? I'm genuinely curious because breakfast is the foundation of the entire day. And eggs for breakfast are one of the simplest and most effective health habits. Share your experience. Now let's talk about effects that people usually don't talk about. The ones that aren't obvious but are very important. First, the liver. Yes, the liver. Remember choline that I mentioned earlier? Choline is critically important for liver health. It is involved in transporting fat out of the liver. When choline is deficient, fat begins to accumulate in liver cells. This leads to fatty liver disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This is extremely common. According to various estimates, 20 to 40% of adults have some degree of fatty liver, and many don't even know it until they get an ultrasound. Eggs are one of the best dietary sources of choline. Daily egg consumption supports liver health and helps prevent fat accumulation. Second, hormonal balance. Cholesterol from eggs is a building block for sex hormones: testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. If you follow a very low-fat diet and avoid eggs and other healthy fat sources, your hormonal system can suffer. This is especially important for women after age 45-50 during menopause. Adequate intake of fats and cholesterol can help soften hormonal fluctuations. Third, bones. Here, vitamin D and phosphorus from eggs play a role, along with protein. Protein is also necessary for bone tissue, not just calcium. Studies show that older adults with higher protein intake have stronger bones and fewer fractures. Fourth, skin, hair, and nails. These are visible markers of health. Biotin, vitamin A, zinc, and sulfur from eggs all nourish the skin from the inside. I often see that when people start eating eggs regularly, their hair condition improves. Hair becomes stronger, shedding decreases, and nails stop splitting. Now an important question. How many eggs can you eat per day? Is there a limit? Honestly, for most healthy people, there is no strict limit. Studies show that even 3 eggs per day are completely safe. There are data on people who ate 6 to 7 eggs daily for years, and their health markers remained normal. Still, I always support a reasonable approach. 1 to 3 eggs per day is optimal. This gives you the benefits without unnecessary strain, and it's important to eat a varied diet. Eggs should not be your only source of protein. Another important point: cooking method. The best options are soft-boiled, hard-boiled, or poached eggs. Frying in oil adds extra calories and can create harmful compounds at high temperatures. If you fry eggs, use minimal oil and preferably a non-stick pan. I do not recommend raw eggs. First, there is a risk of salmonella, even if it's small. Second, raw egg whites contain avidin, a compound that binds biotin and prevents its absorption. With heat, avidin is destroyed, and biotin becomes available. Egg quality also matters. Eggs from free-range hens that eat grass and insects contain more omega-3s and more vitamins. If possible, choose farm or organic eggs. There really is a difference. Now let me briefly clear up a few more common myths. Myth 1. Eggs cause allergies, so they shouldn't be given to children or people with allergies. In reality, egg allergy occurs in about 2% of children. In most cases, it resolves by school age. In adults, egg allergy is rare. If you don't have a confirmed allergy, eggs are safe. Myth 2. Brown eggs are healthier than white eggs. This is simply the shell color, which depends on the breed of the hen. There is no difference in nutritional value. Myth 3. This affects signal transmission speed, mood, and protection against inflammation. There is evidence that people who regularly eat eggs are less likely to suffer from depression because eggs contain all the precursors needed to synthesize serotonin and dopamine, the neurotransmitters of good mood. Now let's talk about the heart and blood vessels. This is where things get especially interesting and controversial, because for many years we were told eggs raise blood pressure. There is no scientific evidence that eggs increase blood pressure. On the contrary, some studies suggest that peptides from eggs may even have a mild blood pressure lowering effect. Myth 4. You should not eat eggs if you have gallstones. Here, caution is needed. Yes, egg yolk stimulates contraction of the gallbladder. If you have large stones, this could potentially trigger an attack. But if your gallbladder is healthy, or if stones are small and under medical supervision, eggs can actually be beneficial because they stimulate bile flow and help prevent bile stagnation. Now the most important point. I want you to understand one thing. Eggs are not a magic pill. They will not cure diabetes, they will not cause weight loss on their own, and they will not make you 20 years younger. But they are one of the most accessible, simple, and powerful tools for supporting your health. They are a foundation, a daily investment in your body. When you eat eggs every day, you give your body what it needs to function properly. Protein for muscles, choline for the brain, lutein for the eyes, vitamins for immunity, and fats for hormone production. This is comprehensive support. And the most beautiful part is, it works. Of course, context matters. If you eat eggs but also smoke, don't move, and live on fast food, the effect will be minimal. Health is a system, but eggs are an excellent entry point into that system. Let me summarize. What specifically happens to your body when you eat eggs every day? body composition improves, muscle mass increases, body fat percentage decreases. This is especially important after age 40. Brain function improves, memory and concentration get better. The risk of age-related cognitive decline decreases, thanks to choline. Vision is protected. Lutein and zeaxanthin help prevent retinal degeneration. Heart and blood vessels benefit. Despite the myths, eggs do not harm the heart, and in many people, they even improve lipid profiles. Weight control becomes easier. Eggs keep you full longer and increase metabolic rate. Liver function improves. Choline helps prevent fatty liver disease. Hormonal balance is more stable. Cholesterol is needed for hormone synthesis. Bones become stronger. Protein, vitamin D, and phosphorus support bone tissue. Skin, hair, and nails become healthier. Visible signs of internal health. Immunity becomes stronger. A full spectrum of vitamins and minerals supports your body's defenses. Here's what I want you to do right now. If you have eggs at home, great. Tomorrow morning, boil yourself 2 eggs for breakfast, soft-boiled or hard-boiled, however you like. Add vegetables. If you can't do without bread, choose whole grain, and you have a perfect start to your day. Try doing this every day for 1 week, just 1 week, and see how you feel. I'm confident you'll notice a difference in your energy, your mood, and your sense of fullness. And if you already have experience eating eggs daily, share in the comments what changes you've noticed. Or if you have questions, ask them. Like this video if the information was helpful. It helps the channel grow and reach more people with honest, evidence-based medical knowledge. And subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. We have many important topics ahead: sleep, hormones, nutrition, longevity. Everything that truly works and is supported by science. Take care of yourself, eat eggs, be healthy. See you next time. This affects signal transmission speed, mood, and protection against inflammation. There is evidence that people who regularly eat eggs are less likely to suffer from depression because eggs contain all the precursors needed to synthesize serotonin and dopamine, the neurotransmitters of good mood. Now let's talk about the heart and blood vessels. This is where things get especially interesting and controversial because for many years we were told